Alright, folks, so we've actually got some pretty crazy video here for you. Now, I've actually been saying this for quite a while now because it's an observation that I had made quite a while ago, quite a long time ago, okay? And that was that anytime Jamie, who's at the Majority Report, is speaking, the looks on the faces of Sam Seder and Michael Brooks are always of this incredible indifference or just sort of like, oh, like I can't wait till this is over or any of this kind of stuff. And I've been saying that for a long time just because it's something that I noticed. It's definitely odd to say the least. But here, what we have video of is Sam Seder just absolutely losing it, okay? Absolutely losing it in response to something that was said by Jamie, which is extremely disproportionate response, as well as he seems to have misinterpreted what Jamie was even saying in the first place. But to give a little bit of a preface to this, they're discussing the video of Nancy Pelosi where she explains that basically in '06, when she had first become speaker, she was aware that Bush lied America into, the war in Iraq, right? But she just said, nah, I didn't impeach him for that. And everyone's like, yo, what the heck? That's like the number one thing to impeach a president for. So people are like, what the hell? And so that's what's going on. And with that said, I'm going to let this go ahead and play.
You're going to, I mean, I don't think you should. I don't think you should be doing that in the first.
Actually, before I let that go, I do want to say that it's not very often that Sam Seder gets very angry. Now, he used to get angry more often. I don't know if he just reserves it for special occasions, but he curses in this, which is extremely, extremely rare. He used to curse a lot more often, but now he rarely ever curses. But this is one of those situations.
First place. But the idea that she's going out bragging about it on CNN, and I still didn't impeach him. Are you kidding me?
Iraqi lives
insane.
are not a factor for these people. I mean,
it's insane.
And this is why so many people are turned off by the impeachment narrative the way it's going right now, because it is dominated by people like her.
What? That we should, because she didn't impeach George Bush, that you shouldn't impeach now?
No, I'm saying.
Why is it that you need to shoehorn that in there? It was wrong then. It's wrong now. You hold them to account. Every time you do not hold a president. The reason why he was able to get away with that was the same reason why Ronald Reagan, because we didn't impeach Ronald Reagan. You hold them to account. If it's not enough, that's the problem. If there's other people who want to go out there and march to impeach him for other things, they should do it. But hundreds of thousands of people died for that. I'm not going to hear this fucking bullshit anymore.
Can I finish what I was saying?
Yeah, finish it.
Because I agree with you. I'm saying you look at Nancy Pelosi and she says, oh, yeah, we wouldn't impeach Bush because his lies led to the deaths of millions of people. But when someone breaks the emoluments clause, like that
he's not being impeached for emoluments. She agreed to impeachment because people pushed for it. Period. End of story. She didn't want to impeach.
I know. I'm just saying she gives it a bad image.
She gives impeachment a bad image?
Yeah. Because she wouldn't impeach Bush over stuff.
Well, then anybody who thinks that impeachment is a problem because Nancy Pelosi was reluctant to do it, I think that is really faulty.
Well, I
reasoning.
don't think so, but I'm just saying.
Well, bring in the people who want to have that argument, because I'll have that argument with those people. But if you want to represent them, then I'll have it with you.
Jesus, I was agreeing with you.
Well, I'm sorry. I just like the idea of shoehorning this in. We're talking about Iraq. I got fucking calls from military personnel whose lives were destroyed during that time. It's just, I like shoehorning this shit in to the skepticism of I don't know who, the 8% of Democrats or the Republicans about impeachment into this story is just, it's ridiculous.
The story is also about impeachment, but
I understand.
Clearly, I angered you, and I did not mean to.
I'm sorry. I'm a little sensitive about this.
Yeah, so am I. My only point is that she's being a ghoul.
She's been a ghoul. That's right. It's just unbelievable to me that she has the gall to go up and brag about this stuff. The value of impeachment is worth it just to get her to come up and admit on television that they knew. I don't know if that admission has happened in other places. I haven't heard of it.
So, and then I believe that is the end of, I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the end of his sort of blow up there. But there is no doubt whatsoever, and we'll get to the portion where he actually does his apology for that. There's no rationale for him, blowing up like that. Clearly, I mean, first of all, what Jamie was saying wasn't even really controversial. I mean, does Nancy Pelosi put a bad image on impeachment? Of course. She took so long to impeach Donald Trump. They haven't put emolument as one of the charges, obviously. And then you have that recent, her just talking about how she didn't impeach Bush for the, lying us into Iraq, right? So she's literally agreeing with you, and you lose your mind, or you really go off. There's no like defending that. There's no rationale for that. And then especially when you start getting into like, oh, it's like, he's sort of the boss there, and Jamie's an employee, and it's kind of awkward when you've kind of got that upper hand. You're just kind of like going off on your co-host. It's like, it's a bit much. Now, he probably just, lost his mind for a second, which is fine. It happens to everybody. And he does end up apologizing later on. But that was definitely not a good sign. In addition to that, like I said earlier, there has been a just continuous, of dismissal of Jamie's takes from the beginning on the show. They always seem to have this look of dismissal or indifference or this I don't care type of thing. They always seem to have that kind of look anytime she's even speaking at all, right? So that wasn't good, okay? And it clearly looked like he was just trying to, go off on something. It seems like he's kind of going off on like Kyle Kalinske types, funny enough. The people that he's going after, it seems like, the Kyle Kalinske types when it comes to the issue of impeachment is what it seems like he's really angry at, if anything. But he kind of took it out on Jamie. I mean, what Jamie was saying was, totally, honestly, I would deem that common sense. Of course she gives it a horrible image. It's Nancy Pelosi, and she took so long to get it started in the beginning. For so long, she didn't do anything, and then there's that recent video, of course. But I will also show you guys the apology of Sam Seder.
I wasn't around for the fight like you were, but
Look, Jamie, I'm sorry. I should not have gotten that heated about it. But I should have handled that better.
Pete Michael's face there, by the way. I want you to pay attention to Michael's face here.
Just the idea of that the problem with impeachment is that we haven't done other things.
No. I think you misconstrued my point, and I appreciate your apology. All I was saying was that Nancy Pelosi is a politically bad representative of impeachment for the reasons that we went over. And I could see how it would be bad strategically to have someone like that who is such a ghoul on so many topics and who didn't think we should impeach over the Iraq war, being the public facing representative of impeachment now.
I don't think she is. I think to the extent that there's any public facing, it's, where's Adam? I mean, that's what the Republicans are, it's Adam Schiff, and it's Nadler to a certain extent as well. Impeachment, Nancy Pelosi is so far away from impeachment. She's bragging about not doing it during Bush. And, she was, it's well known that she was reluctant to do it. And so, I mean, I just think that, like, in the context of I get it that impeachment is not fun for certain people, or that people aren't psyched about it, but that's okay. Fine.
So, that's his apology there. Again, well, I'm going to repeat. When he's talking about this group of people that he's speaking about that he disagrees with, it very much sounds like he's speaking about the Kyle Kalinske types, right? The folks like Kyle Kalinske who are like, too much legal jargon and all this other stuff, and it's just too deep and it's not really palatable to the American people, etc., etc., and so therefore it's not catching steam. That's who it sounds like he's going off on. I don't really know why he went off on Jamie, because he, as you just saw there, he says that he agrees with what Jamie is saying. And again, I would find it pretty questionable if you disagreed with what she was saying. She is a bad representative for impeachment. Nancy Pelosi does suck. Like, Nancy Pelosi is not good. And especially on this issue, right? So the idea of him getting pissed off at this, I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe it was just something else that went down. Definitely not a good look. And his apology did have a but in it, and some people are saying, there should be no buts in the apology. It should just be like this full throttle apology, basically. I think that he messed up here, but obviously, it's not like the craziest of deals. He definitely should, just avoid doing that in the future. Definitely seemed kind of weird. A lot of the comments down here, just to read a couple of these. This one says, I agree that others never back up Jamie, and the general tone towards her is dismissive too often. It's pretty much always that way, to be quite honest with you. Michael needs to teach Sam some of his meditation techniques. Jamie is cool. Uncle Sam didn't take his cranky pills. Jamie and I may have a disagreement. Sam always takes everything Jamie says in the most uncharitable way possible, something he does far more to people on the left. That, and he also straight up cuts her off and talks over her constantly. Maybe if he would ever let her get more than a 3-second soundbite in, she can explain her point more. Damn, Sam, I think your blow up on Jamie was very unwarranted. I know that you extensively covered Iraq at a shameful time in our country, but she attempted to make clear multiple times that her point was not what you assumed was. And so there's just a bunch of comments of people talking about this. I mean, there's no real defense of what he did. He was wrong to blow up on Jamie like that. And they, generally speaking, have an incredibly dismissive tone and just reaction and cadence anytime Jamie's saying literally anything. So those are very clear, obviously. Sam clearly seems to have this sort of built-up anger at what, like I said earlier, is the Kyle Kalinske types of not being in favor of impeachment. And so he kind of just took it out on her, which is, not cool, obviously. But, everyone makes mistakes, so I'm sure, hopefully he will not do that again. But let me know your thoughts on this down below. Very curious to hear them.